Inflation has remained unchanged at 4% in January, as food prices fall for the first time in 3 years, beating expectations from some of the more gloomy forecasters.
Yeah, here's what the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt had to say.
Inflation never falls in a straight line, and although it's welcome that it hasn't gone up today, it is still double the target level of 2%, and we're not going to be able to relieve pressure on families until we hit that target and the Bank of England feels able to reduce interest rates. So this is a time to stick to a plan that is clearly working, but we need to make sure that we really get to that end point of inflation at 2%.
Well, there you go, reminding us that it is still above the target of 2%, but stable at 4%. Let's discuss this more with our business and economics editor, Liam Halligan. And Liam, this is a bit of good news, better than expected.
Well, I think the Tories have done a good job of expectations management. Jeremy Hunt's been saying inflation doesn't fall in a straight line every day for the last fortnight. And so now people are saying, oh, inflation didn't go up. That's quite good. When actually, of course, everybody wants it to come down because it is still double the Bank of England's 2% target. It is on a downward trajectory. Fair play to the Chancellor. It is on a downward trajectory. Back in October 2022, inflation incredibly was 11.1%, a 40-year high. It's now 4%, but it still is too high. Let's have a look at some of the details here on a little on-the-money graphic. It wouldn't be the same without one. So there you see January 2023, 4%. That means prices on average were 4% higher in January than they were in January 2023. That's what annual inflation means. Higher gas and electricity prices, there's what's keeping inflation high. The Ofgem energy price cap went up at the beginning of April. That's the kind of regulated prices that the energy companies are allowed to charge. Now, you said in the intro, you've got to be a little bit careful here, that food inflation went down. Actually, on an annual basis, food inflation is up. So food prices in January were on average 7% higher than in January 2023. So food price inflation is actually higher than general inflation. It's pushing up the overall number. What is true is that food prices in January were lower than they were just in December,
right.
but
Okay,
they're still higher than they were in January 2023. Do keep up. Transport inflation. What's negative inflation mean? Minus 0.5%.
Well, that means going down.
Prices actually coming down across the transport sector because, as any van driver will tell you, any professional driver will tell you, while petrol and diesel, my American proclivities coming in there, while petrol and diesel are still eye-wateringly expensive, they are down on this time last year. So the annual impact is that energy for cars, energy for transport is actually less expensive. So transport has actually come down. Look, this doesn't mean that the Bank of England is going to lower interest rates anytime soon. I don't think they can lower interest rates when inflation isn't falling. We're not going to get an interest rate cut on the 21st of March when the Monetary Policy Committee next meets. I do think by then the Federal Reserve could have cut interest rates, and then the Bank of England, all their modelling, all Andrew Bailey posturing about science and all ONS, where's my data, it'll all completely go out the window. We have to lower rates because the Americans have lowered rates and we don't... Lots and lots of politics. So I do think that was a scientific analysis, by the way. I do think interest rates will come down in April.